Before I get started, I would like to say thank you to Ivy Road Games and Annapurna Interactive for providing me with a review code. Thank you, and now on with the review. I have had my eye on Wanderstop ever since it was revealed in the summer of 2024. The trailer presented the game as a combination of cozy management simulator and a drink serving game. The part that caught my interest, though, was that the team behind the game was made up of personnel that had previously worked on games such as The Stanley Parable and Gone Home. Well, the game is here now, so let's see if it was able to live up to my initial interest in it. Wanderstop follows the story of Alta, an arena fighter who is working at a tea shop while she recovers from a crushing string of losses. I really enjoy the story and the writing of this game. For starters, the way the characters play off of each other is wonderful. Alta is this very self-serious, no-nonsense kind of lady. The game provides enough moments of self-reflection and little peeks into her mind that I feel like I had a really good understanding of who Alta was and what she was going through during the story. Alta is perfectly offset by Boro, who is a very good-natured free spirit. One of my favorite things about Boro is that his wisdom and good nature seems like the product of a lifetime of making mistakes and learning from them, as opposed to just being this all-knowing angel on Alta's shoulder. The two have a great dynamic, and I thoroughly enjoyed it throughout the game. The customers that show up to the tea shop are all brimming with personality as well. Each of them have their own piece of the story to contribute. Gerald is an alleged knight who is trying to win the approval of his preteen son. Ren is a fellow fighter who admires Alta on a professional level. And Nana is a belligerent merchant who hangs around seemingly only to irritate Alta. The way Alta can interact with each of the customers ranges from shutting down their antics completely or playing into their nonsense to see what happens. I usually made my decisions on a case-by-case basis. Seeing Alta take some sort of shine to the customers as they would show up is really nice, whether it was a begrudging sense of tolerance for Gerald or her genuine camaraderie with Ren. It was nice to witness. Wanderstop manages to pretty deftly hit on a wide range of themes in rather organic fashion. Alta is a fighter. That's what she is, that's who she is. She defines herself that way pretty singularly throughout the beginning portion of the game. So the game presents questions such as, does what you do define who you are? Or, who are you once you can no longer do what defines you? These questions perfectly complement the themes on the dangers of toxic ambitions and the joys of simply existing. I think the best word to describe Wanderstop's gameplay would be meditative. The game can be sectioned off into a few different categories of gameplay. You'll spend your time either gardening, decorating, or making and serving drinks. Gardening works by planting seeds down to make hybrids. Hybrids come in two varieties, small and large. Small hybrids yield more seeds, and large hybrids grow various different fruits. Small hybrids are made by planting 3 seeds down in a straight line, and large hybrids are made by planting a seed down, followed by 3 more seeds around it in a triangle shape. You can mix and match seed colors to get different results. Making a large hybrid with a blue seed that is surrounded by red seeds will make a different plant than one with a red seed surrounded by blue seeds. It's a very simple system, but the mixing and matching of different seeds in various permutations really promotes experimentation. I was always excited to see what kind of new plants I could make every time that the game gave me a new seed color. Later on, the game introduces mushrooms that you can plant around your hybrids for even more switched-up effects. Decorating is fairly straightforward. You can take any of the plants that you make and place them in the various pots around the tea shop. You can also find knickknacks around the clearing by sweeping up leaves and trimming weeds. These trinkets can be placed onto shelves as decorations. There's also a camera you can use to take and hang photos around the shop. The game encourages you to do this by having Boro give you a few cosmetic-related tasks throughout the game. The process for making drinks in Wanderstop is probably the most involved I've encountered for a game like this. In other drink-serving games, it's usually just a matter of picking the right ingredients off of the shelf. In this game, making a drink is a multi-step process. The first step is gathering the tea leaves and leaving them out to dry. One full basket of tea leaves is enough to yield 2 tea balls. Once you have the tea balls, you can boil the water and add the necessary ingredients. The drinks that the customers ask for will vary in complexity. Sometimes customers will ask for exactly what they want. Sometimes they'll be more vague about it and ask for tea that feels nostalgic, which in turn causes you to have to look up which fruit triggers old memories in your field guide. If a customer asks for something more complex, Boro is usually nice enough to tell you how to make it. Customers are not the only people that you can make drinks for, though. Boro will gladly take any cup of tea that you bring him, and having Alta drink her own cup of tea will cause her to sit down and ponder about something on her mind. It provides a neat bit of insight into Alta as a character, and is a nice way to incentivize you to try each ingredient at least once. All of the gameplay elements are simple and straightforward, so it becomes really easy to fall into a rhythm of going from task to task as you please. I'd usually start my cycle by picking up some tea leaves, then go gather my fruit while the leaves are drying, and then usually do some kind of plant arranging while I wait for a customer to show up. The nice thing about serving customers is that it is very much a no-pressure environment. If you were in the middle of watering your plants when they show up, you can finish that up without having to worry about them getting impatient and leaving. And if you screw up their order, you can just make the drink again. Wanderstop is a good-looking game. I think it shines the brightest when it comes to the environmental designs. The tea shop itself looks like something from a Dr. Seuss book, with its whimsical atmosphere and wacky apparatus in the center. The clearing around the tea shop is always a pleasing array of colors, whether it's the lush greens that the game starts out in, and the more vibrant orange and reds that appear during the seasonal switch. I always loved the way the area looked. The character designs are pretty stellar as well. They do a really good job at conveying the personality of each person before you even interact with them. Boro, for example, is a big lad, but his apron and little flower on his collar are details that contribute towards his friendly aura. Gerald's design reminded me a lot of Sir Daniel from Medieval. They both just have a very similar sort of bumbling knight energy to them. Ren's design was one of my favorites. He is almost like a visual opposite to Boro in a way. He is also quite large, but he is built like a wall, and his mask and plumage add to the solemn fighter vibe that he's supposed to give off. The music in this game is also great. It manages to fluctuate on a perfect spectrum of whimsical fun and ethereal ambience. One of my favorite tracks was one that came towards the end of the game. It was a very captivating minimalist piano tune. There is also some voice acting in the game. Kimberly Woods does an excellent job at bringing to life Alta's inner monologue and whatever exterior turmoil that she comments on. Having Alta's bench ponderings be voiced goes a long way in making them feel really personal and organic. Wanderstop is a wonderful game. If you like games with a focus on narrative and atmosphere, I would wager that Wanderstop is a must-play. The game managed to stir up an emotional reaction from me by the time I reached the end. I had come to really enjoy my time with Alta and Boro. The game expertly tackles a number of themes, but my prevailing takeaway from it on this first playthrough is to not forget the virtue of simply existing. The simple but satisfying gameplay is the perfect foundation for Wanderstop to deliver its atmosphere and story with. The likable characters and top-notch writing are really effective at setting the table for what the game has to say, and I think that the game delivers its message effectively. When all of these ingredients are brewed together, it makes for a pretty superb final product.